Hey guys, what's up? This is Blaze the movie fan. And as a lot of you know, Back to the Future Part 2 is my favorite movie of all time. But there is so much in that movie that I want to talk about that I can't talk about in a spoiler-free review. So I decided, why the hell not make a video where I go into spoilers and talk about every major plot point of the movie, tell what I think of them and so on. So without further ado, let's get started. So the movie basically begins with Doc Brown telling Marty McFly that he has to come with him to the future because something fucking horrible is happening there. What exactly is happening? Well, Marty McFly's kids in the year 2015 have been arrested for a very long time, and Marty McFly is supposed to prevent that from happening. Yeah, so Doc Brown brings Marty McFly to that exact time, and Marty's girlfriend comes with him. Anyway, since this scene takes place in 2015, I have to say that I find it hilarious how inaccurately this movie got the year 2015. Well, the year 2015 is only a fucking year away, so I think it's safe to assume that the movie got the year 2015 mostly wrong. Our decade is almost nothing like it is in this movie. In fact, the only thing that this movie got right is the fact that people do indeed talk to each other a lot on their TV screens, and that's called Skype. But other than that, yeah, the movie got the year 2015 wrong. Though I can't say that I blame this movie for getting it wrong. Predicting the future is almost fucking impossible. This movie was released 25 years ago. It really is no wonder that this movie got that decade wrong. I don't really think the fact that this movie got the decade wrong is a problem with the movie. In fact, I do think that alternative future looks very fucking awesome. I mean, there are shoelaces who tie themselves, which is fucking awesome. And there's also a talking vest that dries itself up. And then the fucking hoverboard. Now Marty McFly has to find Biff's son and say no to his offer. Of course, disguised as the son. And Doc Brown also warns Marty McFly that he shouldn't know too much about his future. Which is understandable. It would be, after all, horrible to know too much about your future. And you really have nothing to look forward to. But anyway, at the cafe, there's one incredibly funny scene where two people on the same screen argue with each other. That scene made me laugh. But at that cafe, Marty McFly meets none other than Biff's son. After Marty McFly, disguised as his son, says no to the offer, Biff's son, along with his friends, go after fucking Biff and try to beat him up. But unfortunately, Marty McFly is very fucking good at escaping from them. And Marty McFly borrows a hoverboard that can help him escape from those punks. And now is the perfect time to talk about that hoverboard. That hoverboard sure is fucking awesome. What I love about the hoverboard is the fact that it works perfectly. And it doesn't need any fuel or batteries, which is fucking awesome. Making a hoverboard like that would be fucking impossible even with today's technology. Anyway, as it turns out, it's those fucking bullies that get arrested. But unfortunately, Biff himself notices the time machine, and he sure has an evil mind. Anyway, Marty McFly wants to bring a fucking souvenir. But Doc Brown says it's not a good idea to bring something from the future to the present, and that Marty shouldn't take advantage of knowing all of that information from the book that he wants to bring to the present, which is perfectly understandable. Anyway, Doc Brown and Marty McFly have to find Marty's girlfriend and bring her back to the present. And they also have to be very careful that Marty's girlfriend does not see her future self, or anyone else for that matter. But at Marty's future home, there's a microwave that can turn a very small pizza into a huge one, which is fucking awesome. But unfortunately, just like the hoverboard, something like that wouldn't even be possible by today's technology. Anyway, there's one thing that I should have mentioned earlier, but it really happens throughout the movie. Still worth pointing out. There is this running gag throughout the movie that Marty McFly gets offended when someone calls him a chicken. In fact, every time he hears someone say that, he either fights those people or wants to prove them wrong. That really is Marty McFly's weakness. And it even got him fired in 2015. Marty really shouldn't be offended by words like that. I get insulted all the time, but do I let that bother me? Hell no, I just ignore the insults and go on with my day. But anyway, after Marty McFly goes back to his time, he realizes he doesn't live in his own home anymore. In fact, when he goes into that house, it's like he's breaking in. And the guy who lives there is not happy about that at all. In fact, he tries to beat Marty up. And the worst part is, his own teacher doesn't even recognize him anymore. It doesn't take long for Marty to realize that his time, 1985, has become a fucking shithole. And it's also very fucking ugly. Something in the past must have happened to make the 1980s such a shithole. And when he gets back home, at Biff's mansion. Yeah, Biff has a mansion now. And it's a mansion with over 50 fucking floors. Morty is shocked to see what has become of his mother. And his mother really isn't happy about her life, unfortunately. And also in this alternative timeline, Biff is a selfish cunt. And when Morty goes to the graveyard, he realizes that his father died 12 years ago. That is very fucking depressing. Doc Brown explains to Morty that something horrible has indeed happened to their timeline. Morty wants to know exactly what happened, so he returns back to the mansion and asks Biff about it. Now, if Biff was a good villain, he wouldn't have told Morty jack shit. But unfortunately, Biff is a dumb villain, so he tells Morty fucking everything. The fact that Biff was willing to truthfully tell Morty everything is fucking stupid, and it's not something that I would expect from a villain. Though, to be fair, it is the only stupid thing I can think of regarding the movie. Everything else in this movie actually makes sense and is very good. So Morty and Doc Brown have to go back to 1955 to stop the Biff from 2015 from giving him that book which made him so rich. Now Morty is worried that everybody is going to be stuck in a time forever. But Doc Brown tells him that he has nothing to worry about. As long as the timeline is fixed, everyone will fucking forget about it. Which makes sense. So in 1955, Morty has to find the book and take it from Biff. But he has to do it without the future Biff noticing. And while Biff is hiding, here comes something that I found incredibly fucking funny. It's Biff's reaction to his future self. Biff from the future gave his past self a book that could make him a fucking billionaire. In the past, Biff just gets upset over it and doesn't fully appreciate it. That is so fucking funny. Come to think of it, Back to the Future Part 2 is full of funny moments. Yeah, and this is literally the first time I have noticed that. It might have something to do with the fact that I didn't think about the movie as much as I thought about it today. I have watched this movie many times. But in past viewings, I was just watching it to enjoy it. I wasn't really thinking about it. And you know what? The fact that this movie also has a lot of funny moments is another thing that makes this movie so fucking awesome. Yeah, I fucking love the funny moments this movie has. Anyway, Morty has to find the book without his past self or parents noticing, which is very difficult. When the principal takes the book from Biff, Biff says something that is another funny line. This is not homework because I'm not at home. Yeah, Biff might be an asshole, but damn, he has done some funny things in this movie. But after the principal leaves, it turns out that he just has the cover. And it's not the book that Morty was looking for. In fact, it's a fucking porno magazine. Wow, that must suck. Marty then steals the book and someone thinks that it was Biff's wallet. So a couple of tough guys go after Marty, but Marty must make sure that they don't reach his other self, since that could seriously damage time as well. And he has a clever way of doing just that without being noticed. Yeah, he uses some fucking strings while no one sees him to do just that, and that is fucking awesome. Anyway, Biff catches Marty stealing his book. So Biff, of course, beats Marty up. But Marty doesn't give up. In fact, he goes after fucking Biff. And you know what? It's a good thing that Marty brought the fucking hoverboard. Because the fucking hoverboard really helps him out a lot. In fact, without it, he would never be able to catch up with the car. Holy shit! Another fucking awesome thing about that hoverboard. It can apparently go as fast as a car. Yet another thing that wouldn't be possible without today's technology. Well, it probably would be possible, but not without fuel or batteries. Anyway, after Marty gets the fucking book, he fucking burns it. But unfortunately Doc Brown disappears. So Marty McFly is stuck in 1955. Or at least that's how it seems. But Marty McFly gets there from 70 years ago. And the movie ends with a fucking sneak peek to the next movie. This is literally the only movie I can think of that has a fucking sneak peek to the next movie. Not even the Lord of the Rings movies have sneak peeks at the end of them. Though, to be fair, some Marvel movies do have a clue of an upcoming movie in the after credit scenes. Though that is not the same as sneak peek at all. Now it's time for my overall thoughts. This movie is fucking awesome, and oh boy, it was so fun to talk about it. And I also love how I was able to notice something that I haven't noticed before. And that is of course the fucking comedy in this movie. I will gladly watch this movie again. It still remains my favorite movie of all time. Well guys, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching and have a great day.